Hello, today we are going to be talking about Wait Till Helen Comes. This is a youth novel. It's one that I actually read in high school because I saw it and I was like, that looks so familiar. So I grabbed it just so I could read it again, see if it was the book that I had read. And it was. It was fun rereading this. It was interesting. I had remembered quite a bit of it, but I didn't remember all of it. One thing, like my biggest gripe with this book is I hate the parents in it. I feel like all of this book would not exist if the parents had just done their job and been good parents. So this story centers around Molly, Michael, and Heather. Those are the three kids. Heather's 7, Michael is 10, Molly is 12. Okay? Molly's 12, and she's like the parent to both Michael and Heather. And Michael is semi-parentified in the sense that they try to get Michael to parent Heather, but they don't blame Michael if he doesn't parent Heather. And again, Heather is 7. She is the stepsister from the marriage, like mom and dad got married. Heather was dad's daughter from a previous marriage. Michael and Molly are the mom's kids. But Molly, if she doesn't parent Heather correctly, like she doesn't watch her, she doesn't look after her, she doesn't clean up enough, Molly gets chewed out and gets in trouble. And it is so frustrating reading this and seeing them like rely so heavily on a 12-year-old. It makes me so mad. I remember being like, oh my gosh, Molly, like that stinks. But when I was younger and I read this, I remember sympathizing with Molly and being like, that's rough. Like your parents divorced and now you have to kind of watch your sibling. Reading it now as a mom, like it infuriates me. It makes me so mad that the parents think they can spend anywhere from 4 to 8 hours ignoring their kids, and as long as mom cooks dinner and they check in with them before dinner, everything's good. Like, it is insane because I could never imagine making my oldest parent her sister. And yes, granted, my oldest is 8, but I would never rely on my oldest, even at 12, to watch her sister. Like, I would never do that. And I know that comes deeply from I was parentified as a kid, and I hated it. And, like, you do it, and you don't really know any better. But growing up, once I realized that, like, not every kid was being parentified, I realized just how, like, unfair it was. And I vowed I would never do that to my kids. So it's so infuriating to watch this poor 12-year-old trying to handle the stress of moving to a new place, being terrified out of her mind by a graveyard, not liking her stepsister because her stepsister is kind of a booger butt and a brat and is very spoiled. Her stepdad blaming her for the stepsister's behavior and attitude. And, like, being like, well, if you were a better stepsister, she wouldn't be a brat to you. And then the stepdad chewing her out and her trying to, like, find her balance with everything. Like, it's, I could talk about that all day. It infuriates me. And I know this is a novel for youth, but it makes me so mad that they do that and that it's like, it's not really seen as a big issue. It's only really an issue with Molly and with Heather. Really fast, I'm just gonna summarize a few of the parts where mom is talking about how she should take care of her sister. So she literally tells Molly, you know, Dave and I, like, rely on you guys to watch Heather. So she's already saying, like, I rely on you, you need to watch her. And then later on, she, in that same page, she says, Dave and I moved out here, like, we specifically chose this spot so we wouldn't have to worry about you guys, so we could just work and you guys could just take care of Heather for us. It's so annoying. Another thing that I don't like is they're like, well, sisters take care of each other, sisters share. Like, that's the whole point of being a sister. Yeah, the brother doesn't have to share a room. The brother doesn't have to watch the younger sister. The brother doesn't get in trouble if the younger sister does something she's not supposed to. It all falls on Molly, and it's very frustrating. So I'm all done with that rant. For the most part, I think this book is written well. I think you can tell this book is written well because of how much the parents piss me off. Like, the author did something right in making the parents not likable and the little sister, like, annoying when you feel annoyed and you are pissed about what they're doing. But yeah, I feel like this is definitely an appropriate young adult novel. I think for the most part, like, it's not too scary for a kid like 10. I don't know if anyone younger than that would really be reading this book, but it kind of feels on par with Goosebumps. The only thing is, like, it's a little darker because a lot of people died. And I will say I don't I don't love the stepdad. So his whole deal is his daughter watched her mom die in a house fire. And it was very traumatic for her. So the dad is trying to help her get past it. But he doesn't want her to go to therapy. Even though she saw her mom die in the house fire, she was there. He thinks she doesn't need therapy, and therapy's woo-woo stuff. But then also, like, the dad is written as being super into pottery, and, like, he loves to make cups and mugs and vases, but he doesn't believe in therapy. And, like, I don't know, the dad character was so interesting because he comes off like he would be, like, just a little more, like, sensitive or, like, emotionally intellectual, and then he's not, and he's very stunted, and he stunts his daughter and, like, holds her back from healing and processing everything. So that was a little annoying and kind of weird. But for the most part, like I said, I think this book reads well for its target audience. I don't feel like it's overly graphic. I don't feel like it's overly scary. I feel like it's able to be a ghost story without getting, like, too crazy. So I think this is a fun read. I think the author writes well, and I didn't expect to, like, the ending to get me as much as it did, but oh my goodness, like, I'm such a crybaby. So I started crying from this book. The ending is very sweet and wholesome, and once I started crying, I couldn't stop. So I'm, like, sobbing with tears coming down as I'm reading the ending because everyone got a happy ending, which was really nice. So I think if you're down for a little ghost story, or if you have a child who is at least 9 or 10 and they want to have a ghost story, I think this would be fun. I still enjoyed it at 31, so it's got to tell you it's not the worst written book, and the plot was fine. So yeah, I think if you're into a ghost story and you're okay with the parents being absolutely horrible, you might enjoy this. Thank you. Bye.